Vasil Nikov is a Bulgarian artist who has been in the art scene for over 30 years, and he specializes in expressive sculptures. His art focuses on bringing motion to his material and has fluid form as a stark contrast to the mediums he utilizes. Nikov also works to have his art demonstrate the fragility and strength of life.
Nikov was born in Bulgaria but currently works in Montreal, Canada. He started his career as a painter but transitioned into sculpture work, utilizing steel, stone, and wood as his main medium. He works to highlight expression and movement in his pieces made of otherwise static materials. Nikov has exhibited in Quebec, Montreal, Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, and his pieces can be found in private and public collections around the world. He attended the University of St. Cyril and Method in Bulgaria, and that's where he earned his master's degree in fine arts.
Achievements. Vasil Nikov has participated in numerous international symposia and exhibitions, and has produced several works of public art in Quebec and abroad. Nikov received his master's in visual arts in Bulgaria. He has participated in many Quebec public art competitions and has completed special projects such as works for the 2014 Sochi Olympics opening ceremony. Vasil is very involved within his community and has been a member of art councils and unions both in Quebec and Bulgaria. Here we can see Vasil in his studio at work on his sculptures. Let's take a closer look at these pieces in their contemporary artistic context.
For our next slides, we'll be talking about contemporary artist comparison. Jeff Koons is one of the most famous contemporary metal sculpture artists in the world, known for his sculptures that resemble balloons that capture pieces of childhood memory and nostalgia. While his work shares a medium with Vasil's, Koons rarely breaks the mold of metal balloon sculptures. Vasil utilizes his medium differently in every sculpture, attempting to connect to the viewer in a new and interesting way. While both artists use their medium to challenge preconceived notions of metalwork, Vasil's works create different feelings of movement, flow, and life, while Koons remains stationary and heavy, despite the resemblance of real balloons. Vasil continues to break the mold of contemporary artists through his creative approach to his mediums, through combination, movement, and technical skills.
Robin Antar is a highly respected and recognized stone sculptor. Most of her artwork focuses on forming stone into recognizable objects, specifically food. Nikov and Antar share a medium of stone, but their approaches to stone are quite different. Antar does utilize stone in a similar way to Nikov sometimes, but her most well-known and prominent work is using stone to create food. Nikov uses stone as a way to create movement in something otherwise inanimate, while Antar uses stone to replicate an inanimate object. Unlike other typical stone-working artists, Nikov uses stone and creates movement in a natural way. There are no frills. The movement is subtle. He uses stone as a way to create something so different from his counterparts.
Martine Dumal is a French contemporary sculptor who works to explore the different possibilities of bronze throughout her work. Though working in different mediums, Nikov and Dumal have similar approaches when creating. For both artists, the search for balance is important, especially when working with such dense and heavy materials such as stone, metal, wood, and bronze. They both manage to achieve this balance while utilizing fragile proportions and forms. Though they have similarities, Nikov continues to stand out by combining starkly contrasting materials. In Totem, on the right, he uses wood and steel to create a unique, creative, and interconnected piece, solidifying his distinct approach to creating art.
Metalworks. Vasil transforms the static, hard nature of metal into abstract yet established forms, demonstrating the interchangeability and moldability of the material. His workings of metal results in rich, tactile textures. The intentional wrinkles across the metal surface reveal imperfections not as flaws but as demonstrations of the material's expressive potential. Vasil creates the illusion of wind blowing through metal as if it were fabric, presenting metal as something fluid and dynamic. The intimate but expressive and abstract nature of the pieces invites viewers to experience the nature of the world and inspires a connection between the industrial material and the universe, transcending the mundane nature of metal as a medium.
In contrast to his previous works, which are monochromatic, this piece is a bold Vanta black. The color itself compels the observer to focus on it. The matte black surface emphasizes silhouette over detail and allows light to highlight its contours. The sculpture's elegant presence is a result of its smooth edges and organic contours. The composition conjures a moment of tension, a state of arrested motion in which expansion and containment coexist. A sense of motion is also revealed to the base of the sculpture, where the wave-like metal bands protrude in gestures. In general, Vasil urges viewers to regard spatial tension, contrast, and movement as the primary expressive tools.
This metal piece by Nikov resembles one of the lightest and most flowing parts of typical life, a small flower. The tall, thin chain represents the stem, and he creates a sharp, yet delicate top reminiscent of a dandelion. It highlights his drive to challenge the medium he uses, creating a delicate and moving sculpture out of solid, immovable materials. The piece stands tall, looking as if it could fall over at any minute. The lightness of the shape drives viewers to reconsider metal as a medium of flowing and light and beauty, rather than a medium of solely static and bulky works of art.
Vasil's stoneworks evoke a quiet emotional intensity rather than overt drama. They communicate restraint, balance, and endurance. The smoothly carved stone emphasizes fluidity and organic movement, contradicting the material's natural heaviness. The subtle specks and veins within the stone that remains visible reminds the viewer of the natural origin of the material. Along with creating a new relationship between material and movement, Vasil utilizes negative space to create tension between the solid material and the openness around it.
Desire. This stone sculpture by Vasil Nikov has a very calm, flowing presence. The shape is elongated, echoing the movement of water, wind, or a slowly shifting landscape. The soft curves and subtle valleys invite the eye to travel across the surface, while the natural veining within the stone adds depth and a sense of complexity. Nikov allows the material to speak for itself, emphasizing its inherent beauty rather than forcing it into a rigid structure. This piece feels grounded and meditative, suggesting rest, continuity, and slow transformation.
One of Vasil's mixed medium pieces, this work consists of metal and stone. While this piece does not create a feeling of movement, it brings feelings of life, warmth, and love. The stone heart is delicately cradled by metal, two media that are rarely connected with feelings of comfort and softness. The metal resembles hands, or a warm embrace, keeping the stone heart safe above the ground. The simplicity of this piece makes the moment you look at it feel intimate and comforting. Despite the typical coldness of stone and metal, in the piece, you can feel your own heart and soul being held, safe and loved.
Nikov's public installations are defined by their integration into everyday civic environments rather than their dominance over them. Working primarily in steel, he emphasizes permanence, structural integrity, and clean geometry, ensuring the works withstand both time and public interaction. His sculptures often function as visual anchors within plazas, walkways, and communal spaces, inviting movement around and through the forms rather than passive viewing. Rather than relying on overt symbolism, Nikov prioritizes balance, material presence, and spatial dialogue, allowing the surrounding architecture and landscape to complete the work.
Rejoicedness, located in Saint-Belize-le-Grand, Quebec, is an installation piece made by Vasil Nikov. The artwork is seamlessly merged with the building it adorns, creating the appearance that the sculpture is spontaneously emerging from the structure. Metal bands of cobalt and chrome are contorted and organized to resemble the fluidity of wind and water. While the sculpture does not overwhelm the observer in scale, Vasil Nikov places importance on presence rather than size. Another important observation is that the cobalt bands appear to cut horizontally, whereas the chrome bands look to meander and drift. Their collisions almost produce a sense of rhythm. Freedom is halted and order is briefly negotiated.
Another one of Vasil's public works is his work Lollipop Rayona. Lollipop Rayona, also known as Radiant Lollipop, is one of Vasil's distinctive public art pieces, with its bright waves and enormous portrayal of a lollipop. Located in Promenade Redmond in St. George's, Radiant Lollipop is entirely constructed of stainless steel and features 15 stainless steel fans in the center. Each strip is notably 3 inches wide, with the longest strip being 2.5 meters long. Key elements of this sculpture are its rendered lightness and its brilliance in color. His main inspiration comes from the International Symposium of Sculpture Celebration of Outdoor Radiance. This nostalgic-like sculpture was created to depict childhood memories and the joyful wonder of the human senses. The colorful strips are molded into waves that appear to move with the breeze. In addition to its rainbow strips, the steel still peeps through, reflecting light rays, hence creating an almost illuminating monument.
And now we would like to introduce Vesselin Kourtev. Bulgarian artist Vasil Nikov has been in the art scene since 1987, perfecting his craft in multiple mediums such as watercolor and oils. He utilizes colors to create a dreamlike setting that explores narratives of personal relationships and global interactions, such as environmental awareness and the connection between nature and man.
Vesselin Kourtev is a contemporary artist born and raised in Bulgaria. He earned his Master's of Fine Arts degree from the University of Veliko Tarnovo and has worked in a variety of fields such as National School of Stage and Film Design in Plovdiv, Bulgaria, and currently serves as the head art director and resident artist at Alfa Art Gallery in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Vesselin primarily works with pastels, creating abstract and illusory landscapes, while also including human figures. His technique creates a unique juxtaposition of light, color, and subject, evoking viewers to reflect on the relationship between nature and man.
Kourtev's work is influenced by traditional Roman and Byzantine art and architecture, yet resembles abstraction and contemporary art. He works to include his homeland, Bulgaria's deep culture and history, into his work, while creating a contemporary abstract piece. His use of colors and shapes resembles his country's history, as well as his figures invoking Eastern European religious history.
Kourtev has exhibited internationally in Bulgaria, Malta, Germany, Greece, the United States, Belgium, and the Netherlands. Kourtev and his pieces have been highlighted in multiple press releases and exhibitions and are owned in private collections and galleries worldwide. He has donated his work to important figures in the local community, such as a 2008 donation to St. Peter's Hospital in honor of their duty to community care. In the Dutch city of Hedendorp, his solo exhibition was inaugurated by the Bulgarian ambassador to the Netherlands. In 2007, Vesselin and Kourtev founded the Alfa Art Gallery. They have been recognized by Home News Tribune for their promotion of positive change through art.
Artistic comparison. Jackson Pollock is one of the most well-known abstract expressionist artists. He paved the way for many in the art world through his use of progressive techniques of splatter, which differed greatly from the typically sharp lines of art at the time. His paintings consist of large splashes of color, covering the canvas with lines and movement of paint. Kourtev's work takes the splatter by Pollock and redefines it. While Pollock's works utilize splatter to cover the entire work, and typically utilize darker colors to evoke darker emotions, Kourtev creates pieces using lighter colors and emotions. Kourtev's work moves beyond the inner feelings of an individual and towards highlighting the vast connections made between humans and nature. His inspirations run deep in his works, pulling on the emotions between people, spiritual relationships, and the intimacy between souls.
Vasil Sargent is most notably known for his familiarity in 19th century French Impressionism, producing around 900 oil paintings, over 2,000 watercolors, and numerous sketches and charcoal drawings. Much of his artwork depicts his travels to places such as Italy, Spain, Corfu, and Maine. His expressive landscapes reflect a traditional academic approach, and his art style remains consistent and clean. His piece, Venetian Cano, depicts a canal in Venice. Color and light play a crucial role in how Sargent produces his paintings. Sargent employs methods of coloring to depict and mirror a setting sun, intending for the viewer to experience this scene just as he has. Similarly, Vesselin Kourtev's work, Sunset, portrays his own visualization of a setting sun. Just like Sargent, Vesselin finds color to be an elevating factor to his painting, integrating bright yellows, blues, and reds to conceptualize a bright horizon. In addition to color, Kourtev also adds illustrations of humans in these colors, as if they are being consumed by the sunset itself. Here, Kourtev intends to highlight the theme of how our environments and nature itself can be overpowering, yet beautiful.
Pablo Picasso is among the most prominent artists in art history, renowned for its abstract imagery and co-founding of Cubism. His artistic style is liberating, yet rather obscure. His piece, A Horse and Its Trainer, demonstrates how Picasso is able to create artworks through a different lens. The line work suggests that Picasso employed a one continuous line in its creation. Furthermore, the work embodies simplicity while fostering a flow that contradicts conventional drawing techniques. Vesselin Kourtev's piece, Right, can be described with a similar technique. His drawing is far from simple but otherworldly and whimsical. His pencil strokes exhibit a greater purpose, with each line appearing intentional and significant. Similar to Picasso, Vesselin's work transcends conventional techniques, integrating both abstraction and realism in his drawings, hence invoking a state that resembles neither dream nor reality.
This piece highlights Kourtev's watercolor and pencil work. The colors melt together into a beautiful mix of cool and warm tones. The human figures stand among the bright colors with geometric pencil shapes, and faces contrast the bright colors in the center with their own abstract shapes and colors. Two small birds stand on the left edge, viewed by the couple on the right side. The couple stands against a fence, viewing the birds from a distance, yet the colors envelop them all. It leaves the viewer to ponder what song the birds may be calling to the couple, as well as how they reflect the couple within themselves, connecting nature to the man, reflections of each other rather than completely removed despite the barrier in their way.
This piece by Kourtev, The Prayer, highlights his inspiration in Eastern European religious history. He utilizes contrasting colors and mediums such as pencil, watercolor, and collage to create a spiritually impactful work. The brightness of the watercolor and the collage pieces of the temple are directly opposed to the pencil-drawn saints praying behind in the sky. Their form looms over the building, making them seem mystical and beyond earth. There are distinctly Byzantine halos behind their heads, and the small birds on the left side remind the viewers of Kourtev's beginnings and the deep history of Bulgaria.
Kourtev continues to dazzle in this piece. Through his use of multiple media, however, with a heavier focus on collage. The sharp lines of the work provide a different feeling than some of his other pieces. The distinct lines and colors create feelings of division and harsher emotions, rather than the more intimate, soulful feelings in his other pieces. Through this, however, he is able to communicate the complexity of emotions and personal relations. Male Wind also holds resemblance through its collage pieces to Byzantine mosaics, giving beautiful layering and pops of color.
As chaos ripples through the paper, which is reflected perfectly within the use of watercolor, harmony peeks through the colors selected. Bright splatters of vibrant yellow help illuminate the soft blues at the top and bottom of this piece. A dark trident slips the canvas, bowing and curving, which gives a sharp edge and a more delicate side to its depth. Fish, frogs, and man are scattered throughout this painting, as they lie encased within a bright multitude of colors, as they themselves are mute of these bright influences. The soft grays of the graphite help bring out the hopefulness and joy in The Fish Are Praying for Rain 4.
In addition to stone and metal works, Vesselin also works with oil painting as well. In piece 4 of Vesselin's Something from the Dark Side of the Moon, there is a sort of messy, tornado-like energy. The main focus of the piece is a white cone shape with vivid splatters coming out of the bottom. The cone and the surrounding areas are chaotic, bright, and messy, while the rest of the piece is calm, quiet, and darker. Vesselin is able to give the audience contrasting feelings and emotions. He is able to explain how complex things truly can be. There can be so many sides to a person or a thing, and this is just one painting, but it shows multiple different aspects within it. This piece does not just explore one thing, but ultimately explores the mess.
Something from the Dark Side of the Moon 13 is another abstract piece by Vasil Kourtev. The pastel colors of blue, pink, and yellow create a dreamlike environment, appearing as if we, the spectators, are peeking into someone's thoughts. Each paint stroke is soft to further develop this dreamy landscape. The painting itself is not smooth, but also textured with paint splashes, adding dynamic movement to the painting overall. The forms of color interact with one another in both a chaotic yet harmonious fashion. When delving deeper into this painting, you could witness faces emerging from within. These faces are calm and almost at peace with one another. While their bodies are not entirely visible, it appears that they have melded into the surroundings. This refers back to Vesselin's idea about the link between man and nature.
In Something from the Dark Side of the Moon 14, Vesselin works with abstract shapes of paint in varieties of colors, rich green, yellows, and browns, blues. He creates a form that resembles a volcano in the process of erupting. His technical skills allow the colors to flow and ebb, creating an image full of life, change, and growth. Kourtev's skills allow the image to pop out of the canvas, with light and dark hues creating shadows and lift. Without using any specific detail or imagery, Vesselin is still able to easily communicate with the audience a sense of action and movement within a landscape.
The 24th study in Vesselin's series, Something from the Dark Side of the Moon, is a dynamic composition of texture, dimension, color, and form. Sporadic blooms of pigment dance across the canvas in a smoke-like wisp that curls and rises upwards across a muted backdrop of beige, blue, and yellow. The foundation of the piece, however, is not color, but rather layers of paint splatters that swim like tadpoles across the piece, which were then painted over to join in harmony with the two-dimensional work. The effects of both the brushwork and splatter techniques is a dynamic, breathing piece that dissipates as living light as it leaves the canvas. To close, we'd like to extend our deepest gratitude to the artists for their invaluable contributions to this exhibition. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Amboy Bank, Johnson & Johnson, GSK, New Brunswick City Center, Daiichi Sankyo, Magyar Bank, Mercic, Weisner, and the Bank of Princeton, with special appreciation for the grant funding provided by the Middlesex County Board of Chosen Freeholders. This exhibition would not have been possible without their generous support. Thank you again.